I'm Sander Dale, CEO of Short Teams. Today, I'll have an interview with the CEO of BGO Software, Ivan Lekushev. And BGO, based in Sofia, Bulgaria, has a remarkable client base with clients such as the NHS from the UK. And during this interview, we'd like you to get acquainted with Ivan and with BGO. And I'll ask him to give some wonderful insights about working with a nearshore development team. So Ivan, welcome.
Hey, hello.
Yes, can you tell me a bit about the story of BGO?
Sure. Well, it's more or less romantic one. We started about 12 years ago. At first, we were doing some advertising on websites. We were maintaining a few automobile-related websites, and then we went into the software development space. So first we were building websites, then we started doing like enterprise applications, and for the last 8 years we've been doing mostly like enterprise applications for some big organizations across the world, as well as some like smaller like startups and some like mid-sized organizations. So our experience pretty much varies from like the big pharma, like corporate, to startups. So like over the years, that gave us a more or less like 360-degree view on the software development industry in general. We are about 100 people today. We have 3 offices in Bulgaria, and we recently opened our first international office in London. So things are looking quite exciting.
I would say expanding rapidly.
Yeah, I mean, it may seem like rapid expansion, but as a matter of fact, it's could be a slow and painful process until you get to where you want to be.
I understand. Okay, and maybe can you tell me a bit about the background? How did you come up with it, and how did you start?
Well, to me personally, like it was more or less obvious that I'm going to be involved in the IT area in general. So yeah, I always just had this in mind, and just having this strategy on the background, like taking consecutive steps one after another. And as I said, like we were like building websites first for ourselves. Then we started building websites for some clients of ours. And then we started building like some like web apps, and then the size of the projects and the size of the clients like gradually like increased until we got to the point where we have like some of the top 3 like pharma companies in our portfolio, and our model, I think, business model like changed over time from being a outsourcing company to being an external IT partner for the businesses that we work with. And there's a considerable difference between two. While outsourcing is much rather related to somebody just executing a project that has been like defined already and has a functional and non-functional specs. The role that we currently play for our partners really is a much deeper one. So we actively participate in the project definition phase, and we consult our clients of how to approach their projects. So big part of our business nowadays is to pretty much understand what our customers want to achieve and suggest the best approach to get there. And after that comes the execution phase, where we provide the resources for that project to happen.
Yeah, so you're like a full-time partner.
Yeah, external IT partner. So I personally call it CTO as a service, what we provide. So we turn business organizations and business department into powerful IT companies. That's exactly what we do.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. And maybe can you tell me what is your secret sauce, right? So maybe what are your, let's say, leadership principles that you have discovered and executed and that have contributed to your success?
Yeah, well, you know, like, I don't think I can come up with something that nobody has said before, honestly speaking. To me personally, it's the people. It really is the people. I mean, they say that you don't need money to do business. You need people to do business. So as long as people are happy, they just drive the business forward. That's it. And from my personal perspective, my job is to clear their path and to make sure that they don't have obstacles in front of them so that they can do the best they can. That's
And
about
then,
it. I mean, I wish I could come up with something more
well,
original, but that's about it.
have you got exceptional skills then to find the right people? I know that Sir Richard Branson, he used to say that he is not skilled in anything, only finding the right people, right? And finding the right people. How is that for you?
Yeah. Well, I think like the CEO very often is the one that plays the orchestra, really. You know, so the conductor of the whole thing. So my job to a great extent really is to understand people and to make sure everybody's happy and to sort of it really is a sort of social engineering. You see, like when you like recruit people, you must take into consideration how they will fit into the team and how they will fit into the company culture. And something which is interesting here to mention is that the company culture is not something that you develop, it's something that you discover. So the people that you put together and the environment that you create, all those factors like create the company culture. And once you have that, which happens naturally, after that, the people that don't match the company culture, they just don't last. I mean, the environment does not sustain them. So, yeah, having said that, people reading skills is really like important. I don't know like how good I am in that regard, but as long as the working environment is not stressful and people are happy to come to work and happy to be doing what they're doing, to me that's a sign that me and the whole management team is doing a good job.
Yeah. Okay. And so how would you then define the company culture of BGO?
Well, it's people driven. I would say that we are to a great extent a very democratic, if I may use the term, environment,
Yeah.
which means that uh, we're not trying to like create like strict rules and then just like whip people like if they don't follow them. But we are much more like results oriented. Our strategy is to set like clear expectations, to align the expectations on both ends, to be very clear about what we expect our colleagues to deliver on a monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis, and then just guide them through the process and let them do their job. And if at the end of the period they have delivered to what they have promised to deliver, that means that everybody's doing a great job.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. And so the things you know, right? The things you have learned, I mean, you need to have learned them over the last years, of course. Who opened doors for you, or who has been a great inspirator for you? What other CEOs maybe do you look up to?
Yeah. Well, I really think that it's a long journey, this like whole self-perfecting thing. Really like no matter what you're doing, as like Steve Jobs says, like stay hungry, stay foolish. You
Yeah.
know, I think everybody, like every professional, should not really take themselves very seriously because if you do that, that means that you're arrogant enough to think that you have reached the end of knowledge in certain area.
Yeah.
And honestly speaking, we live in times where that technically can never happen. And I always like tell like my colleagues that every training that you attend, every conference that you go to, every event that you attend in one way or another, you wouldn't take 100% out of it. You will take 1 or 2%, but you have to go through the full 100% content in order to select what is a thing that would stick to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so I think it's a long journey like for all of us, and things that we do when we're like 17 really like determine the type of a leader that will be like when we're like 40 or 50. Things that do when you're 40 are a consequence of the person that you developed yourself over the years. And every book you read, every quote that sticks, every email that you get that you like, it's part of the factors that determine who you are, the professional that you are, and the attitude that you have towards life, and professional and personal life. So there's like so many leaders out there that I look up to, but you know, like I wouldn't say my favorite leader is, you know, like Elon Musk, let's say. When I look at interviews, when I like listen to podcasts, when I read books, articles, I just like pick up the things that I like. You know, like I'm not blindly following someone,
No,
believing that he's the ultimate truth. You know,
I understand.
I
Yeah.
would rather just like read it, and whatever like makes sense to me, I just like get it. That's it. And something which like a life hack that I found out like recently, not so for like a couple of years ago. If I like something and I want to remember it, I just create a wallpaper for my phone, for the lock screen, with some pretty much like a picture, and then I put the text of what I want to remember. So we do really like look at our phones like hundreds of times a day. And when I do that, when I see like something that really makes sense to me in terms of attitude towards how things should be done, no matter the aspect, I just like put it as a lock screen wallpaper, and then I just like see it like for a week or two, like every day, hundreds of times, and then it just
Yeah.
like sticks.
And it sticks,
It's a life
literally.
hack that I came
Yeah.
up with. I'm not sure how I came up
Yeah,
with it.
it's a good
It
one.
was for me.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to BGO.
Sure.
Uh,
Sure.
what do you consider to be the biggest strength of BGO?
Mm. That's a good one. Yeah, I'll mention people again. I mean, all of the people that we have here are good-hearted people, people that want to succeed, that want to develop their potential and reveal it through what they do during their professional life. So besides people, you know, like I think one of the right things that we did over time is to make sure that we learn from our mistakes. So they say that the only way to become good at something is to gain experience, and experience is very closely related to failing. And I don't mean like major fails. I mean like small fails, like doing one step of a 100-step process that didn't work so well, but just paying attention on that and making sure that you don't repeat that mistake. So over the recent years, we really like invested lots of time, lots of management time and resource to develop policies and methodologies that were based on the conclusions that we drew over time, like doing projects. So having developed those is really the way that we guarantee our clients that we're going to do a good job. And I may say that clearly, I mean, we haven't had an unhappy client over the last years, which is like a sign to me that we're like going the right way.
Something to be proud of.
Well, yes, in a way, but I think that this is a process that's ever evolving, you know, like, and what customers want today is not going to be what they will want tomorrow. So it's not something that you can complete and just like stay like relaxed that you have figured it out, and you know from now on you don't need to really like do anything about it. So it's a constant process, and the fact that we realize that is something that is part of our, as you called it, like secret sauce. Yeah.
Yeah.
So last but not least, I think humbleness is a key
Humbleness. Yeah.
to professional success. You shouldn't like take yourself seriously, man. I mean, no matter how big an organization is, it still is very fragile, and like you should never allow yourself to be arrogant in one way or another and take yourself like too seriously. So as I said, like to me personally and to the guys that I work with, it's an everlasting process of trying to improve and be better
Yeah,
and
and get
not
better.
take ourselves and get better and pretty much not take ourselves too seriously and just realize that we're just dust in the
Yeah,
wind.
but it's a good
You know?
it's a good advice, right, to anyone, right? I mean, be humble and just do everything to get better every day.
Yeah, yeah. You know, like I think like 90% of the leaders say the same thing. You know, so
Yeah.
like I didn't come up with that. It's just everybody says that. At some point of time, I was like, maybe we should investigate and understand why those guys say that. And at some point of time, just like starts making sense.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, and so you keep talking about your people, right? And that people
Yeah,
are most likely the most important part of your business, of BGO, and maybe
of
of
any
any
business, not just
business,
our
right?
business.
Yeah,
Any
and
business.
and so, but how do you, I would say, take care of your staff and create team spirit?
Well, um, well, I think that it all starts with this, like what I call social engineering, which is part of the recruitment process and company culture that I mentioned earlier. Like, as long as people are feeling comfortable in each other's company, that is already like a head start. Then obviously, like we are, as part of our like HR policies, we're trying to do everything that we can to keep our people happy. So we're trying to understand what they really like want and what they really need. And then sometimes we come up with some like out of the box like ideas. Like last year we did, for example, like a BGO like fitness challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea was that when you like work out with other people and you guys like compare results and stuff like that, it's actually like it's a gamification of something, and it's a nice journey. So that's something that could really like link together people that have don't really like work together at the workplace, but when there is something that unites them, like physical health, for example,
Mm-hmm.
this is like something that works great. So we had like ideas about like we did quit smoking like quit smoking like program some time ago. Obviously like team buildings, like small
Yeah.
team buildings for like teams, big team buildings for the whole company. Like I think people like, especially like younger professionals, are very much driven by having the opportunity to grow. So we do internal training all the time, and it's not just like professional training, like technical skills, for example. We do soft skills. Sometimes we do just like workshops that have nothing to do with work. For example, I don't know, like workshop about drones, workshop about like robots and stuff.
Yeah.
And then somebody
Something
who's really like,
fun, something new to learn.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, so like so many different things really. Obviously people enjoy like being together and having fun together, especially like when you're working with younger chaps. Something else that helps is like we very often have our clients over here. So when we like work on a project, um, this is one of my secrets. I really like ask all of our clients before we start the project to come over here so they can see where the magic happens and actually meet the people face to face that
Mhm.
will be working
Which
on
is
their
really
project.
good. Yeah.
And I think so, yeah. And when you actually like build a personal relationship with the project owner, it's people really like tend to take so much more responsibility about what they do because they know who is on the other end of the
Mm-hmm.
project. And this really like helps the professional environment in many different ways. So we don't have a client that has never been here. We don't have a client who doesn't know the team that's working on their project.
Mm-hmm.
And this really like takes the whole work thing to a completely new level, because at the end of the day, people work with people, they don't work with machines. Like it's always person to person. It's not
Yeah.
B2B, it's like P2P, person to person, or
Yeah.
H to H as they call it, human to human.
Yeah. Which is absolutely true, and especially in outstaffing or outsourcing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
you can communicate using every tool we've got nowadays, but still, it's
Mm,
very good
yeah.
to not every now and then see each other, of course.
Yeah, machines don't really like replace the human contact. It doesn't
No,
work like that.
no.
Doesn't work like that. I mean, even you and I, like we met face to face before we could like move this like business relationship that we had to a completely new level. And you
Yeah.
can, you know, for yourself, like what a difference it made. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Okay, and so what kind of tools do you, I would say, you use for collaboration and for the remote work that your team does?
Yeah, well, everything that the industry has to offer, really. We manage our projects over Jira or Jira. I'm never sure how like was the right way to call it. So all our operations go through Jira. This is something that I'm particularly happy about and proud of, because every hour that we work, everything is logged in there, and like all the information is there. So we provide access, our customers, we provide them access to Jira so they can track stuff live. You know, I think one of the main challenges about outstaffing in general is that businesses, they want to take advantage of the economical differences between different regions, let's say in around the world.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that makes them more or less hesitant towards taking a decision is the fact that trusting your business in somebody's health. Trusting your business in somebody's health. Hey, my God, trusting somebody with your business is, first of all, really like a huge responsibility for both sides, and second of all, involves certain level of risk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my personal job when it comes to customers very often is to make sure that they understand how we work and what's the best way to get the most out of us, and vice versa. So
Yeah.
learning how to communicate, learning how to align expectations at both ends is the first step towards building a successful relationship. And transparency in the business relationships is probably like the most valuable, not the it's the best, is the best way to build a relationship and to create comfort in the clients.
Yeah.
As long as you find the right way to create comfort with the client, the rest is easy, you know, about this
Yeah.
relationship.
It's
That's what I think.
transparency and communication.
Transparency and
Yeah.
communication. Yeah. So I always tell our clients that we have nothing to hide. I mean, if you want to take a look at our Jira and see like what we did over the last week, go ahead and do that. If you want to come to our office and see how we work and what we do, and just like stay here for a week just to make sure that you are in safe hands, go ahead and do that. Our purpose is, we're not looking for the hit and run. Yeah.
No.
We are here for the long game. I mean, we have like clear ambitions to become very good at what we are and to build long-lasting relationships with the people that we work with. So as I said, like the tools are part of the package. So tools like project management tools like Jira, Slack, Microsoft Teams, picking up the phone and just like talking whenever you want to talk with the guys at the other end, on the
Yeah.
other end. Something that I think is extremely valuable is to have clearly defined roles and responsibilities at the very beginning of the project. Who is responsible for what? You know, one of the most like poisonous practices could be for the client just like to pick up the phone and talk with whoever like he decides and ask them something to be done. This is a recipe for disaster. I mean, you have to have a focal point of communication, in my opinion, and official way of submitting your requirements and requests, so that everybody can follow a clear track of the decision-making process, and then we can organize our work accordingly, but
Yeah.
follow like best practices, as opposed to, you know, like picking random requirements and changing priorities rapidly. Like this never works. Even at
No.
home, I mean, yeah, tell your kid to like clean their room and then just like tell them to do something else, and you'll see that the room will not be like perfectly cleaned
No.
afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I agree. Yeah.
the same way you manage kids, the same way you manage like grown-ups. You know, like we're all people and have the same like personal characteristics since childhood. So
Yeah.
yeah, keep your focus. That's I think like the important thing in managing projects and people.
Mhm.
I don't know if that
Okay.
answered your question, but
Well, I think it does. I think in many ways, and especially, I mean, tools is one thing, but I think the more important thing is being transparent and being, I would say, clear in your
that's it.
communication, right?
That's it. Tools just provide means of achieving that, in my
Yeah.
opinion. As long as the very goal of both sides is to achieve transparency and to I'm going to repeat myself, align expectations on both ends.
Yeah.
The tools just provide means of achieving that, but they're not the whole picture. You know, like
No.
even if you have like the best tools, like if you are not clear with your intentions, that the tools wouldn't make much of a difference.
No. Okay. And if you look at someone who would like to start and build a team at BGO, what would be the ideal start? Can you maybe explain the typical process? How does it go?
Yeah. I would always go for a face-to-face meeting first. You know,
Hmm.
I always tell that to our clients. The risk exists at both ends. Having a client that is not clear about what they want and a client that is, excuse my French, like an asshole can make your life really, really miserable. And like financial profits can never compensate for that.
No.
Imagine like having a highly paid client who is a pain in the butt for all your like colleagues and teams, and people start leaving your company. I mean, it's not worth it. The money, like if you wanna like be completely open about it. So face-to-face meeting is always like the first thing that we do. I mean, we always invite as a obviously like we start with a call. Yeah. So like introductory call. This is who we are, BGO. Who are you guys? Why are you doing what you're doing? You know, like Simon Sinek has this book called Always Start with Why. I really believe in that. You know,
I have it.
you have to, you have it, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody should, I think.
Yeah.
So understanding why people are doing the things that they're doing
Yeah.
gives so much context to everything after that. And so we always start with a phone call. So like introductory phone call, some like general information about the project, general information about the targets, the ideas, and so on. And then we follow up with a face-to-face. Sometimes we would go meet the client. Usually like I would invite customers to come and meet us here, because I really think it's important for them to see where the magic happens and what is it like. What is this company about? Because you know, like in the internet world, like everybody could pretend to be anything they want to be, and
Seeing is believing.
when it
And knowing even.
and
Right?
and when it comes to like building a long-lasting relationship, and I'm not using the word relationship by an instant. You know, this is what really is about. Once they come over, we discuss their project. It really is like we call that ideation process. You know, so we sit in our conference room and we just like talk about it and throw ideas on the table, ask questions. So it really isn't a strictly corporate process. It's much more like a relaxed environment where we just like brainstorm and you know, like talk about it. And I think people get really excited about it, you know, because everybody is like really passionate about their work, really passionate about the projects that they're engaging in. So once you can feel that, you can see that spark in their eyes, and you can understand what is the person that you have in front of you, is really, as I said, that gives so much context to everything that's to follow.
Yeah.
So something that's really important as well is that we never engage in a project without doing a proof of concept. Why? Because while we talk and build a relationship, that's one thing. But like starting with a small project like proof of concept really like allows both sides to see how the other side works and
Yeah.
how they communicate, how they set their targets, how they define their expectations, and while keeping the risk small, you can really get a good understanding of what's to follow. So if the proof of concept goes well and everybody is happy about the process and about the results, then you can engage in a longer relationship without having those doubts that you initially would have.
Mm-hmm.
And scaling up like step by step is also something that does a great job. So start with a proof of concept, then start with something that's slightly bigger, and then scale up over time. This doesn't have to take years, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but the step by step approach is something that I think makes all the difference in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. So start slowly and just build along the way.
Just gradually like evolve. That's it. It's just
Yeah.
like in life, like you start like by being a baby and then you end up being an adult, like over like a serious period of
It
time.
doesn't happen in
So
one day.
same with
No.
same with projects.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people don't ever grow up, but yeah, you know what it's like. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think about the collaboration with short teams?
Well, how do I say that without sounding fake? Like you guys came in our lives in I could say like just the right time. Like at first Ilke like contacted us some time ago, and sounded like an interesting opportunity, like for every business person, like having an extra stream of business and opportunity is always welcome, right? So then the first project that we started, um, it I cannot explain how much that was the very right time for this project to happen. It really played like detrimental role in the life cycle of our business. It just for some reason just came just at the right time. And what I liked a lot was that for people like me, I just very often I just need somebody to open the door for
Mm-hmm.
me. I mean, one way or another, like me and my colleagues that are involved in the business development process and in building those relationships that we're talking about for the last 20 minutes, opening the door is, I mean, we have nothing to hide. So like when we like talk with customers, we're just like being completely open. I really believe in karma, like, and when
Yeah.
somebody trusts their business in your hands, you're not allowed to just take it lightly and just like mess it up and just move on with your life. I mean, it will eventually get back to you like in one form or another. So that first project that we started, as I said, came at the very right time. When we met with the clients, they had the right expectations, and we built up on top of those expectations, and working together with you guys to sort of navigate the clients through the decision-making process just that worked very naturally. It just did.
And they're still clients, so
once and we're still working with them, and they have like a big team with us, and it just worked. And the relationship that you and I have, and with Ilke as well, is something that I enjoy. I mean, when we speak on the phone, I like it. What can I say? Like, it's fun. I mean, we have built a relationship that is detrimental for all the work that we will do in the future.
Yeah.
And I like it. It's fun. It works. Pays off. What can I say?
Yeah. Okay. So what do you consider then the biggest strength of short teams, at least for BGO or for you?
Well, what I like about you guys, like to be completely frank, is that you're good guys. And when you, I feel confident that we are a good match to each other. So when you sort of open that door for us, when you warm up a client to meet us, I feel confident that you will set the right expectations there. And it's not going to be, you're not going to be over promising or telling the client something that turns out afterwards that it has nothing to do with reality. So this is something that I really enjoy. And I like our small talks every now and then, and following up with the opportunities that we're working on. And at the end of the day, I like celebrating our successes together with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really like looking forward to even expanding that relationship in the future. You know, like adding more services, adding different business models that can match what the markets need, what the
Yeah.
markets need. Because I really believe that businesses in the Netherlands, especially, are first of all in great need of quality people to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But people in the Netherlands in particular are very straightforward. Something which I really like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it really like easy for me, because certain nationalities are a bit more hard to figure out, while you guys are like quite straightforward, and you just
Yeah.
like say what you mean and what you
Yeah.
think, which exactly
Easy.
overlaps with
Yeah.
what us Bulgarians are probably like famous for. And for me, it's the way of doing business. I think very
Yeah.
straightforward. So
Yeah.
that I think is makes us a very, very good match for each other.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. Okay. So
Yeah.
last question. Last question. In
Sure,
which, in
sure,
which,
man. I'm having fun, so like, don't
yeah,
hesitate.
me too. So in which direction do you think the IT is moving in the coming 5 years?
That's a good one. I have my personal theory, but I'm not 100% sure that this was going to happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm looking at is the industrial revolution. So what happened at first is that people are like doing everything by hand, like manual labor. Then during the industrial revolution, like they started creating factories, and all those factories were having like so many workers inside of them. So currently, like the software industry really like reminds me of that. I mean, all those like big IT companies are pretty much software factories. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened during the industrial revolution is that machines started replacing people. And at some point of time, the people that were left to work in those factories were the guys that were operating the machines. Yeah. So the skill set required to work in the IT industry, I think, will change over time from doing lots of manual labor to operating, figuratively speaking, machines and algorithms of how to produce what is now being produced by hand. And honestly speaking, I'm looking forward to that. I think that it's been quite a while now that everything is being done by hand.
Mm-hmm.
and and yeah, I think we are moving this, we're just like history is going to be repeating itself, and we're confidently moving in the direction of turning that current model that we have into a less and less sustainable one, because IT is nowadays inevitable part of our life. But at the same time, it costs a lot to produce what
Yeah.
businesses need. It's not a luxury to have to go through digital transformation. It is how things work today and how they will be working in the future. So this process of developing web and mobile applications must be simplified in a way and become less expensive. And I think in a more or less natural way, things will move that direction. I'm not sure, like as per my theory, how long that will take, but I would expect that within 3 to 5 years, we will see a major shift in the way that software is being developed.
I would say that usually you have a time frame and it's far more faster than we expect upfront.
Yeah, it's exponential growth, right?
Yeah.
And this, like, everybody's talking about digital transformation, and before that it was digitization, or is it called digitalization? So I was doing like a couple of speeches about it. Digitalization is turning a analog process into a digital one, while digital transformation is completely like transforming a process through digital means. Yeah. So the digitalization created all that data, and digital transformation must find a way how this data is being used for a greater good.
Mm-hmm.
So data is currently like the most expensive commodity in the world. It surpassed energy just last year, which is a
Yeah.
major event.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And everything will circulate around data, man.
Yeah.
That's it. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
So we better embrace it. That's why, like, to me personally, it doesn't make much sense when I see companies hesitating to digitally transform what they do, or modernize, as another
Mm-hmm.
term that's being used
Yeah.
nowadays. I mean, I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. Like the same way how you would use the phone book on your mobile phone, instead of like writing your telephone numbers and names on a notebook. The
Yeah.
same thing with your like business. I mean, you using an Excel instead of like to write down, like to enter data, instead of having a software that makes that so much easier, like, doesn't make sense to
Yeah.
me. And to anybody watching this that are wondering where they should, like, digitally transform or not, I mean, you guys don't have much time to wonder.
No.
Speaking, like,
No. If you
if you
don't
want to
do it,
keep
you're
your
too late.
place,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, look at what's happening. Like, big corporations are not being able to match like much smaller companies that are like technologically so much more advanced than them, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in an era where everybody's driving a car, if you prefer to walk barefoot, like, it's great, but you're not
Yeah.
gonna get there as fast as the other guy,
No.
man. And
No.
you better figure out your priorities in life, and like, how
Yeah.
long are you willing to last? Because change is inevitable part of our world. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we better embrace it. I mean, status quo never lasts long.
No. Absolutely
That
true.
was quite a philosophical ending to that conversation,
Yeah.
but yeah, I really believe in that. I really
Yeah.
do. I really do.
Okay. Well, let me thank you for your time then today, Ivan,
Thank you,
and
sir.
for all the great insights you have, and giving us a view of BGO, and of you as a person. And
Thanks, man.
and if anyone wants to get in touch with you, they can reach out to us, or of course immediately to Ivan.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Looking forward to all the new like challenges that business will have for both of us.